Childhood was a strange and confusing mess. When it came to religion, my family was inconsistent at best. My mom seemed to believe in the Mormon church, but she never went. My grandma on my father's side seemed to believe too, although I never saw her actually attend. My brother and I were forced to go every Sunday. I hated it and didn't understand why we had to go just by ourselves. My memories from back then are foggy, and I don't remember much. What I do recall is that we had a new church built right behind us, maybe a minute's walk away, but for some reason, we were not in that ward. My brother and I had to walk about a mile to the stake center, but one event changed how I viewed the church. When I was 12, I decided to go to a boys' basketball event at church. I liked basketball enough, even tried out for the school team. I didn't make it, but I at least gave it my best. For me, even trying was a monumental task. So, I showed up at church, and the boys told me I'm not 13, so I can't play. My birthday was only a week or so away, but they wouldn't budge. Upset and feeling left out, I walked home that mile, and I didn't return as a child. At that time, I lost all faith in the church. I only believed in God because I was told I had to by this religion forced upon me as a child. I didn't have a choice in the matter. Thankfully, my mom saw my resolve and didn't bother to fight me on it. My brother also stopped going since he would have to walk by himself. In my 20s, my grandma passed away, which was such a painful point in my life for many reasons. But during her funeral, something happened. Call it delusion or wishful thinking. Maybe it really happened. I like to believe it happened. While grieving my grandmother, I felt her presence. I could feel the pressure of her hand on my shoulder, and something inside me told me I needed to return to the church. At this point in my life, I was spiritual. I believed in a God, and I believed in ghosts. So, feeling compelled, like I was fulfilling something my grandmother asked of me, I returned to the Mormon religion. I spent months doing everything required to earn the priesthood. My goal was to baptize my youngest brother, who was a baby when I quit church the first time, and my baby sister, who didn't exist at all then. So, I worked earnestly, earned the priesthood, and baptized my siblings. Then, just as suddenly as that calling, that drive to be there, appeared, it left me. I had fulfilled what my grandmother had wanted of me. I left the church again. I don't want to discount anyone's beliefs, but after my second try and what I had to go through to fulfill my goal, or the promise I made to my grandma, I found inside myself that this was not the place for me. Something about it wasn't right. It didn't resonate with me. In fact, kind of the opposite. I was at odds with some of the teachings and requirements, things I didn't believe an almighty God would bother to even care about. So, my spiritual journey continued. I spent many years wondering and calling out to the abyss for answers as to why I was here, what it was all for. I won't get into my mental health today, but it definitely played a role in this. The questions I started asking made me realize that man-made religions didn't make sense to me. There were all these rules and requirements interpreted from ancient texts, or men claiming to have spoken to God. Have faith, religions say. Have faith in God. But it wasn't God that organized religions are asking you to have faith in. They are asking you to have faith in man, particular men that claim to have spoken with God, or angels, or whoever high above, supposedly giving them these revelations. I thought to myself, how strange and silly is it that people are putting their faith in men in the guise of faith in God? So I went down this path of doubt. How can I believe in a God I've never spoken with? And even if God did speak to me, how could I trust that I wasn't just crazy or convincing myself it was true so that I could feel better about how I lived my life or how I wanted to live my life? So how can one believe in God without trusting man? I, without a doubt, don't fully trust in mankind. The only trustworthy humans are children, and they don't always make coherent sense. So there I was, lost. The world was hard and full of hate. The devil was more likely to exist at this point than God. So, how is it that I found God now? How did I get here? I've always been a big believer in science. Science is king in the universe we live in. By years of observations, mankind has found and defined several rules that all of the known universe is bound to. For me, in this particular topic, the law of conservation of mass is where I found God. So let's define this law first, then I'll explain. The law of conservation of mass states, matter cannot be created or destroyed, it can only change forms. A simple example is water. If we freeze it, then it becomes solid. If we boil it, then it becomes steam. Nothing is lost, it just changes. This is an oversimplification, but it makes the point. So how do I get from here to God? At this point, the Big Bang Theory is less of a theory and is more universally accepted as true. So let's break this down a little bit. The Big Bang says that everything in the universe was long, long ago a single thing we call the singularity. This singularity contained all the matter in the universe. This is where science meets my spirituality. Within the laws of our universe, matter cannot be created nor destroyed. So where did the singularity come from? Just that question in itself made my mind race. If it can't be created, then how was it created? Logically to me, one of two things is true. The singularity just is. No explanation. It just always has been and always will be what it is. I didn't like that explanation. So I thought some more, and my logical conclusion was something or someone, or maybe even someone's, had to exist outside the laws we are bound to. So are they a god? Are they an alien? Sometimes I wonder if there is a difference. Either way, something or someone created the singularity that created the universe. Are we born of them? Do they even care that we are here? All interesting questions that no one will have answers to unless you believe a man saying he was told from up high. Personally, it doesn't matter really. I believe in a God that created this universe for us. I believe that we should be kind and we should do good as often as we can. I believe that we should be selfless and should all work together for the benefit of all living things in the universe. The state of the world saddens me so much. Such hate and so much pain. If a God does exist and they do look in on us, they would be very disappointed in just about every soul here. Except dogs. Dogs are perfect.